But I have faced rejection on the basis of the way I look.
Okay.
Because they were like, "Arey, but ye sundar hai, but how will she play this role?" They don't really look at the fact that you're talented or you're pretty. They just say, "Arey, but flop ho gayi iski last film. Arey, but 2 films. Arey, nahi isko nahi lete." That's just the way they think, and that's just how the culture is. They used to say I'm a gas tanker and stuff like that in the South when it started. And I don't say anything because I was quite big for the mainstream, the thing that they have in Dharma, because Dharma is like a dream for so many actors, you know. And I was an outsider, and I thought, no, but there's place only for insiders. Honestly, that's how I felt. But from long back, actually from last year itself, last year, there were people who were trying to cast us in a film. And I'm so glad I had this conversation with Sidharth, and I said, I'm so glad it's happening with this film. And I give that acknowledgement, of course, to him, that he was the person who brought that comfort between us. Because I'm a very awkward, silent person. He's always seeing me in a corner, not talking. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, let me talk to you.
Basking in the glory of her recently successful series Rudra is Raashi Khanna, who joins me today only on Bollywood Bubble.
Hello.
Welcome to Bollywood Bubble.
Thank you so much.
Firstly, I want to know, I know Rudra has obviously attained a lot of appreciation on social media and otherwise. Your character in particular has been loved. Loved in the sense, I mean, it is getting the appreciation and the acknowledgement that it deserves. But I want to know from you, when you first signed on to the project, were you nervous? Because though you have had your share of ups and downs in southern cinema, this is technically your first outing
Yes.
here, right? Were you nervous?
I was extremely nervous, firstly because it was a huge risk coming with this character, because it could have gone completely right or it could have completely gone down.
Yeah, true.
So, and I was also responsible to my audience in the South, because they really look up to what you're
Yeah.
doing in Hindi.
Yeah.
So I had this added pressure, but while I was shooting, I was just being honest to my craft, and that's what was in my head, to play her right. And then I was like, even if God forbid it doesn't work, people shouldn't say that who is this, she can't act, you know. And I
वो
had
तो
to,
नहीं बोलेंगे
हाँ,
आपने
of
साउथ में
course.
इतना काम
हाँ.
किया है कि मतलब that
But
can't
that
happen.
fear is always there,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
especially with this character, because if I'm playing a safer character where I don't have to experiment too much, it's still fine. I can glide in. कि अच्छा हाँ सुंदर दिखती है, ठीक है, act कर लेती है,
हाँ.
which I didn't want for myself. So I think I was a huge risk taker when I took
Yeah.
this up, and it came first, and I was pretty nervous to see how the people would react to it. But I'm really happy that
They're
it
reacting
went,
positively.
positively, which
Yeah.
is amazing. Yeah.
But you know, like you mentioned, you're a risk taker. I mean, you could have chosen to do just pretty looking roles as well. That stereotype is unfortunately still there in
yeah.
the industry. Have you ever sort of come across any director or any suggestion from friends or family who would be like, okay, but this is a safer role. Like, why don't you opt for this?
Yeah, I mean, people all the time. So for my career, I've realized that I am the sole decision maker. I will decide if I don't know how I'm like this, but I am like this, where I will decide if I want to do it and I don't want to do it. And I have people around me who sort of always go by my decision. There are very few times when they'll actually say, oh no, but why this or why that. So I don't think I've ever had a role where, you know, my people said that don't do it or anything of that sort, but I have faced rejection on the basis of the way I look.
Okay.
Because they were like, "Arey, but ye sundar hai, but how will she play this role?" And I'm so glad that it worked out with Rudra, because now I'm like, dude, if you give opportunities, this is what happens.
Yeah,
So give opportunities. And I got this role through an audition. It's not because I was an actor in the South, because they really wanted somebody who could act. So I just feel that's why I feel auditions are so important, because you understand yourself better as an actor also. And it's good to get rejections, because you realize you need to up your game as an actor. Otherwise, you'll be like just going with the flow and just go with the flow only.
I mean, today it's very wise of you to say that rejections are okay, it's fine. But I know that when it actually happens, it is a difficult spot to be in. Like, because you start, there's a lot of self-doubt that comes with rejection, right? When you were in that position, what was it like and how did you overcome that?
So of course I've had rejections in my life also. It didn't necessarily have to do with my talent. It's just the success ratio that the South looks at. They don't really look at the fact that you're talented or you're pretty. They just say, "Arey, but flop ho gayi iski last film. Arey, but 2 films. Arey, nahi isko nahi lete." That's just the way they think, and that's just how the culture is there, which I don't really resonate with, because I don't.
Right.
Thankfully, the North is not really like that. Even after a string of flops, if you do a great character, people will appreciate you. But that doesn't really happen in the South, because in the South you just get rejected if your film is a flop. So again you have to rise again you have to make those decisions. So you're constantly falling, coming up. So I think I've become so used to it that now I'm like, now I'm just immune to success or failure. I'm like, हाँ ठीक है, I am a happy soul anyway. But I mean, it's great if it's going well, but it's fine if it's not going well because there'll always be something else.
You'll pick yourself up
Yes,
and then
exactly,
probably do
exactly.
something. But what was the worst criticism, I want to know, Raashi? Because like you mentioned, there have been a fair share of ups and downs. What is the worst criticism that you have heard?
I think the worst is just that initially when I've been lucky with the kind of roles I've got, but probably necessarily relating to my weight because they used to say I'm a gas tanker and stuff like that in the South when I'd started, and I don't say anything because I was quite big for the mainstream the thing that they have, and I did become fitter in time, not to please anybody, but because I know that the job requires that.
Right.
So I've faced all that bullying, online bullying and stuff like that, and it honestly didn't bother me because I'm like, okay, this is what you feel. Say it. I'm gonna take it out.
Because when I mean, just saying from a personal experience, when especially when you're on slightly heavier side, people tend to be a lot more disrespectful also sometimes in their trolling, or they'll just disregard your talent at times and only look at how you look.
But see, those are not the kind of people that you should give importance to anyway, because maybe they're just frustrated in life and we actors are very easy praise for them. So they'll just be like, okay, let me just pick this actor, write shit about them. I mean, it makes them feel happy, right? So if in a way I'm the reason for somebody's happiness, why not? I'm like, ठीक है भैया, तुम्हें खुशी हो रही है ये सब लिख के तो लिख लो.
But do you remember any time when it did get to you at some point?
I
or
think
when you thought it was that this is too much?
In the beginning when I'd started out, when people were commenting on my weight, yes. I was like, इतना क्यों फर्क पड़ रहा है? Like I'm still doing well, and of course I had issues, PCOD, all those jazz which everybody goes through.
Yeah.
But yeah, that nobody knows. What they see is what they see on screen. So I can't blame them. So initially it did hit me, but I think I'm also a very spiritual person, so it sort of helps switch off.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Like today I don't care. I'm like, जो बोलना है बोलो.
I'm so glad you did not let all those wrong voices hit your ears. But tell me, when you have to take that shift, it's not really a shift, but you're also taking a risk when you're trying to do something new.
Yeah.
Everything new has its fair share of ups and downs itself. So when you decided to take on Rudra, was it an organic decision? Like it came to you organically, or were you on a lookout? Ki, achha, let's do something. And
I wasn't on a lookout really. I've always had films touchwood like in the South to be busy with, and I didn't really look out for something. But yeah, consciously, subconsciously, I always wanted to do something else because I was like, I'm so sick of doing the same kind of roles and same glam and same like just be there and be a prop. Of course, I wanted to do something more, and Rudra, they just told me that they'd been auditioning other people, and then they thought of auditioning me also for it, and I was very happy. I never thought that, oh, I'm an actor, I will not audition. I'm not that person. Audition me for as much as you want. So I was I was challenged as an actor, and I was very happy, and I auditioned for it, and it just happened.
It was meant to be, so it happened. When you're playing a character like this, that especially when you come with a body of work which people are used to, it's difficult for those section of people to accept you in a different role, especially when it is negative. All the more there is a certain restraint that did you keep all of that in mind as well when you were signing on?
See, I was thinking, of course there's a pressure on you to sign the right thing because you're responsible for your set of audience, but another set of audience would never get created if I don't take that risk. Like they'd always be like, हाँ ये तो ठीक है चलो, this is passable in film. So you have to keep creating or keep targeting all kinds of audiences, not just the one that you cater to. That's how you grow your audience. So I think in a good way, I took it in the right spirit that chalo bhai ye risk le liya, I better perform, in it. And I did give it my all.
And so what is the best compliment that you have received?
Actually, DK sir messaged me saying, did they use VFX for your eyes? Because my eyes go like this, like, literally in the trailer if you see. And then I told him, sir, no, it's just my eyes. And he's like, that's crazy because in his series, in Shahid's series, it's pretty like me, normal. And if you see me like a sociopath, it's quite different. So they were like, who's this girl? Like, and a lot from my family that how can she act like this? Like, cause they were like, ye kya hua? Like, this is such a shift the way she looks, and I think the look of it also was quite a thing, because I feel the red hair and that makeup could have gone completely wrong.
True.
Maybe there are people who don't like it also, but that's the whole point. You have to make her look like she's eccentric and weird.
Yeah.
She can't look like this and be
But
crazy.
did it take you time to accept yourself when you look at the mirror and you're like, listen, who is this girl? Like, did you have that?
So always before shoot, I'd be like, oh God, I have to get into her head now. And every time I would have the red hair, I'm like, now I'm in her head. Like, it just helped me. That whole look would just help me become that person.
Are you also happy, Raashi, to see a shift in the way characters have been written for women today? I mean, a few years back, we couldn't have imagined an actress taking even those risks because conventional way में उसे risky बोला जाता है, right? Today, do you think even in South, I mean, honestly, I don't watch too much of South movies. I'm only started because of Netflix and other platforms. But irrespective, do you see a shift in the way narrative? Do you see a shift in narratives as well?
I definitely see a shift in narrative. I still feel there's a long way to go, but it's at least beginning. Like people are at least writing those parts for women, or at least they're giving that much importance to a girl. Still, there are films where you're just a prop. It still happens. But I feel at least there's some talk about it. At least people it's got the conversation going, and there's so many films that are being led by women that are doing really well, especially led by Kangna or by Alia, who are doing fabulous work. So I think that's just a start, but I still feel that there is a long way to go.
Yeah, true. Are there any, I know you're also starting for your Bollywood debut, you've already started, but I want you to take us to the time when the offer actually came to you. What was that like? How did it all happen?
I think I just got a call from Dharma, my managers, and they were like, okay, we would like to narrate the story to her. I said, so narration matlab, am I in the film? Like I had a question. I was like, are they offering it to me? Are they like, they're like, no, the narration means ke narration hai na. They want to see if it works for you, if you like it. I said, if I like it, I was like, it's a Dharma film. And I never thought I'd be a part of Dharma because Dharma is like a dream for so many actors, and I was an outsider and I thought, no, but there's place only for insiders. Honestly, that's how I felt. But I think that changed completely when I was welcomed with open arms, and that was such a nice feeling. You just feel like it's so good to be a part of such a big production house. And every time I'm on set and I see those huge production values and the huge sets and the money that goes in.
But you're used to it, right? Even in South, they have
I am.
Huge sets.
But the girl inside me growing up saw Dharma films. So when I'm part of that production, it's a different feeling. I'm like, wow, I'm a part of the Dharma film. Yeah, so it's a great feeling, and I think it's beautiful also because it's with Sidharth, and I think from long back, actually from last to last year, there were people who were trying to cast us in a film. And I'm so glad I had this conversation with Sidharth, and I said, I'm so glad it's happening with this film because apart from just the romantic side, there's so much more to it. And there's so much that I am learning from him, and there's so much that I'm doing without him in the film, that it's just the best film we could have been part of together.
True. Any new skill set that you had to learn to be a part of this film?
Not really. I just had to be my awesome, confident self that I am in the film. I know I'm very shy, but yeah, the character is a really strong girl, and it'll resonate with a lot of women, and I think you'll really like it.
How important is that for you whenever you sign a film, that it should resonate with the majority of the women out there? Because you all are also we look up to people who can set an example or lead by example, right? So how important is that?
I think it is extremely important. But now there's a very thin line because sometimes you're playing a character where you can't help but go through certain situations or go through certain dialogues which you might not like, but it's the requirement of the script because that's the character. Now the actor and you get split because you're like the audience will like pick you on it and say, why did you see that and why did you do that? So I think the audience still has to come to that level where they start thinking कि हाँ but ये character play कर रही है, this is not what she wants to say. So there's still that phase. But I do understand that of course we are representing women and we shouldn't be doing certain things on screen. For things we actually believe in.
I mean, just be mindful of what you're doing.
Exactly.
Right? There's another thing, Raj and TK series you're doing. Tell me a little bit about that. How is it shaping up? How has the experience been?
We've shot for it, and I really thought that would come first, and I called Rajan D. I was like, when is it coming? They're like, wait for it. I'm like, no, I can't wait for it. And I think it will be end of this year. We've completely shot for it. The dubbing's left a little bit of that, and shoot is fully done. And I think they're in the process of editing, and I think they want to release it globally, so that they're working on that. So the experience has been fabulous because I never thought that I would work with rather than DK because Family Man is honestly one of my favorite series. Like I would watch it and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So when I got to know that I was working with them, and these are directors, even big actors are chasing to work with, right? So when I got the opportunity, I was like, I must have done something really good to get this project. And with the Shahid, whose work I have always looked up to. He's a fabulous actor, and I've always told him, I still feel you're underrated. You should be like this. You know, I still feel there's so much more for you.
I also agree though that I also feel he's underrated.
Yeah, and I think he's a fabulous actor. He deserves so much more, and of course he's done that with the Kabir Singh. You know, has that following which he always deserved, and I always would want him to rise and shine. And today he's like my buddy. You know, I give that acknowledgement, of course, to him that he was the person who brought that comfort between us because I'm a very awkward, silent person. You'll always see me in a corner, not talking, and he's like, and he's like, let me talk to you. So I think he's been a great friend that way, and he's been a great support, and I can't wait for this series to come out.
So what else? I mean, of course, there are two very exciting projects that are coming your way. One has already released and has already garnered a lot of good response from the audiences. Anything in South that you're doing?
So this year I have 6 releases.
Wow!
Yeah. 2 in Hindi, 2 in Tamil, 2 in Telugu. And so I think my whole year is going to go finishing them and getting them released and basically just promoting
them.
That's
good, I mean, best place.
Yes. So I'm just like waiting for them to release. I go to Sardar next after finishing Yodha. That I'm still shooting for Yodha. I finish it this month end, and I focus on my Tamil film next. So this.
So much happening. Yes. I'm very excited for you, Raashi, because it looks like this year is going to be all
in
a lot of ways.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you're getting a good response, and I'm happy that you're taking the risks because it's working out for you at the end of the day. So thank you so much. Keep doing that. Keep pushing the boundaries.
Thank you so much. Thank you.